Greetings, brothers and sisters from the four corners of the world. I hope everyone is having a blessed morning, afternoon, evening in your perspective lands. To our Arab speaking brothers and sisters, Salam alaikum wa barakatuh. That's peace and blessings upon you all. All right. A mystery no more, part 3. In this crazy world that we live in, it just seems to get a little bit more out of hand by the day. And with that being said, we're gonna go further into the the mystery woman, right? That we left off with America, aka Babylon. But before we do, I want to show you and kind of really help you understand what the Bible is saying in regards to the people that are running the world who are not so good, the evil people, and how you can kind of correlate it, with everyday current events. So just a little quickly now, and just showing you also what it means for the future. Okay, kind of scary, but here we are, and we must endure until the end. So, the emphasis of part 2 was the famous woman, the famous prostitute, the one who rules enthroned beside abundant waters, as the scripture said, right? Now, I wanted to emphasize something a little bit differently here. Okay. So, starting from the top, it reads, "One of the seven angels that had seven bowls came to speak to me and said, 'Come here, and I will show you the punishment given to the famous prostitute.'" Now, you look at that footnote, and I want to show you, it says Rome, the type of any place where evil is supreme. Prostitution symbolizes idolatry. So we understand Rome is the creator of Christianity from Constantine, officially, unofficially, and officially, right? The Council of Nicaea and those evil individuals. And it continues to read, "Who rules beside abundant waters." Now you can see it says Babylon metaphorically, and in verse 15, and we'll get there, right? The one with whom all the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and who has made all the population of the world drunk with wine of her adultery. And you see here, it says all pagan nations and their kings who have adopted the imperial cult. Now remember, that word was pretty big. That word was pretty big. Okay? Having a strong, powerful hold. Now, if we see what America, Babylon is known for, we see that all over the world today. Even more. We showed you the Monroe Doctrine and the Manifest Destiny, how this is a country who believes that God told them to hurt and kill and steal and rob other people for land, resources, and whatever it is they felt was necessary for themselves. We saw secretly that There was a Monroe Doctrine that says that they should have power over the entire Western Hemisphere till no one really knew about until recently. Most people, right? The everyday person. So, this is telling us in Scripture that there's an issue with other nations that follow America and their evils. Hmm. Continuing, it says, He took me in spirit to a desert. Okay. And there a woman's and there I saw a woman riding a scarlet beast which had 7 heads and 10 horns, and had blasphemous titles written all over it. Now, let's check out this, right? And D is not necessarily the emphasis here, but E, the 10 horns, right? And it reads, the 7 heads are Rome's 7 hills, and the horns 10 subject kings, the beast. And this is at the time they were trying to say that it was the worst emperor of Rome, or that region at the time, which was Nero. Okay. And some people believe that he would return. All right. It says he is dead but will return as a ruler of the subject peoples to avenge himself on Rome, a reflection of popular belief that the dead Nero would return at the head of the Parthian army. Now, Parthian is, if we're not mistaken, we've seen this name before. That's the Medes. All right. They really don't give. Let's go through the. Right. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Medes. Euphrates to the Indus, which is present day Iran. Okay, so now we're seeing that Babylon is having issues with this individual. Okay, now if it is that, so and I want y'all to understand, we obviously don't believe in reincarnation, but what this is saying is that that same spirit that was upon Nero would be upon the Persian ruler and or the military of Persia, which is Iran, and they would bring punishment to Christianity, which is the symbol of Rome. Okay. Now, how about that for understanding the current events in the world? Because Iran is the headlines. It's as if Nigeria and Somalia and Sudan and Venezuela are all a thing of the past. And then it's just Iran, Iran, and Iran. But let's continue, shall we? Now, I want you to keep in mind this, right? This beast, the woman and the beast had blasphemous titles. And this is really important. And let's look at this word title, right? Inscription, a heading, okay, and this has nothing, in this sense, it has nothing to do with Christ and the cross. So, title, a position, inscription, label, ticket, play card, heading, honorable appellation, a title of honor. So now there were what? And had blasphemous titles. Blasphemous titles. Blasphemous titles. Now, it's very interesting because, in one sense, we can look at it as, okay, a label, or we can look at it and say, all right, this is something that they've earned. Maybe people say, like for example, people in the Middle East, people in the greater Middle East, people all over the world, South America, Central America, Africa. A lot of people believe that America is heaven on earth, which that's blasphemous. That's beyond blasphemous, actually. Okay, but and then you get to think, right? A title. So when you get a home or you own your car, you get the title. You get the ownership of it. So then this woman has what? Blasphemous deeds. Think about that now. Blasphemous deeds that they've done all over it. Continuing. The woman was dressed up in purple and scarlet and glittered with gold and jewels and pearls, and she was holding a gold wine cup filled with disgusting filth of her fornication. On her forehead was written a name, a cryptic name, Babylon the Great. Now, you see, this is also a sign as to understand who would be Babylon, meaning a cryptic name, Babylon the Great. Now, we look here, it says Babylon, a symbolic name for Rome. It so happens to be that an American is the head of Rome, while America is doing some of the craziest things that we've seen. I mean, looking to take over Greenland and looking to take over Venezuela, looking to bomb Iran, right? But this is a big message here, going back to this word, where the Most High says, a cryptic name, an occultic name, a hidden meaning to the name, a mystical name. Now, we understand that America is a very occultic nation. And if you're in the truth, you know, and let's say, per se, you have children, right? You do everything you can in your power to make sure they don't fall into these traps because this is where Satan thrives with the occultic and mysticism things. Okay. And now, I mean, gratefully, praise the Most High, it's out there more than ever. Like it's not necessarily hidden anymore. Back years ago, it was very hidden, but now it's just out there. You really have to make your own choice as to, am I going to serve the Most High or am I going to listen to Satan? It says the cryptic name Babylon the Great, the mother of all prostitutes and of all filthy practices on earth. And, you know, I'm going to show you some videos. And when I say remember blasphemous titles, remember filthy practices, just remember these things, right? And it reads, I saw that she was drunk with the blood of saints and the blood of the martyrs of Christ. Okay. Now, what does this say? This says this not necessarily, and we understood this already, right? It's not necessarily speaking of Christ. It is speaking of who? a persecution of those who seek to follow Christ. Now, this becomes really interesting because with many Christians in ignorance, Hosea 4 and 6, for my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. That means the less you know, the less you understand, the more likely it is for Satan to deceive you, and the more likely it is to end up in hell forever. But here's the tricky part. What is a martyr? That's the question. What is, oops, I spelled it wrong. My apologies. What is a martyr? One who bears testimony of faith, a witness. Now, the problem is in, in Christianity, they believe that this would be, them, okay? Under when the Joe Biden administration was going on, there was street preachers outside, and they were like, "Oh, they're getting arrested," and now it's not necessarily happening too much, but they think it's them. Now, keep in mind that the Most High named this a blasphemous nation. So, in so much that they would destroy real people who believe in Christ. I want you to think about that now. And we're going to look at blasphemous, right? And that goes to those root words, blasphemy. Displaying blasphemy, irreverent to God or sacred things, to speak lightly or amiss of sacred things, to slander, speaking evilly. Now, you see, impious or profane speaking of God or sacred things, speaking ill, impious speech, slander, to speak evil of, wrong utterances, right? So now it becomes really, really tricky because what does it mean, the blood of martyrs of Christ? Think about that now. Think about it. Because Christ never stepped foot inside of a church. He did go to temples to maybe sometimes learn, but as far as focus, his focus was not to necessarily go every Sabbath. His focus was to learn for what the people were learning so he can help them and see who was mistreated within the churches, within the temples, I should say, excuse me. So when you're talking about the blood of the martyrs of Christ and the blood of the saints, now these are two different distinctions here. Now, this is very interesting because you would think that saints and martyrs would fall in the same if they're both dead, right? If they're both being killed, right? Now, a martyr, let's go back one more time. Someone who has a faith. So this would be someone who dies, who understands. Okay, now, this one will be someone who dies, who has the understanding of who Christ is, right? And the saints. Now, I want you to think of this, right? It says, she was drunk with the blood of the saints. Now, we can see here divinely inspired, worthy of worship, devout, consecrated. Now, we understand that consecrated in the book of Numbers goes back to the Nazarenes, right? Saint also means one of the elect, right? So here is a different group. These are two different distinctions, all right? A saint, someone who has been called and someone who has been chosen, but they were slain. And yes, you can be an elect and still be slain. The blood of the martyrs is someone who understands and accepts the role of Christ. Now, Christians believe that's them. But you see, this is where the world gets really tricky with religion, right? You have Christians who believe in a rapture doctrine, okay? And then they believe that everyone else who is left behind will face destruction with the Antichrist. On the other hand, Muslims believe that we will still be here, that the Antichrist, who is called in Arabic the Dajjal, will be defeated by Christ. There is a major conflict because one group of people believe something that's not biblical, and the other group believes something that's biblical, but also don't believe in the full prophecies of the Bible, which is Muslims. It's going to be very interesting. But all nations have drunk of this confusion instead of saying, hey, here's what it says in my book, here's what it says in your book. Wow. Anywho, and when I saw her, I was completely mystified. The angel said to me, don't you understand? Now I will tell you the meaning of this woman and the beast she is riding with the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And the beast you have seen once was and now is, and he is yet to come up from the abyss. Now remember, the abyss is hell. It's where Satan thrives, but only to go to his destruction. And the people of the world whose names have not been written since the beginning of the world in the book of life will think it miraculous when they see how the beast once was and now is not and is still to come. And we went over that last lesson. Only those who aren't in tune with the Most High are going to be like, ooh, ah, wow. Here's here there is need for cleverness, for a shrewd mind. The 7 heads are the 7 hills, and the woman is sitting on them. The 7 heads are also 7 emperors. 5 of them have already gone. One is here now, and one is yet to come. Once here, he must stay for a short while. The beast who once was and now is not is at the same time the eighth and the one of the seventh, and he is going to his destruction. The 10 horns are 10 kings who have not yet been given the royal power, but will have royal authority only for a single hour in association with the beast. They are all of one mind in putting their strength and their powers at the beast's disposal. And they will go to war with the Lamb. But the Lamb is the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, and he will defeat them, and they will be defeated by his followers, the called, the chosen, the faithful. Now, remember, we said this previously in the prior lesson. That's right. Christ's followers of Christ, are able to fight. They are able. That means you have to be capable. You don't go to the exercise, you don't go to the gym to exercise. You go to the gym to train. Train to live. You train to live and you live to train. The angel continued, in the waters you saw, besides which the prostitute was sitting, are all the peoples and the populations and the nations and the languages. But the time will come when the 10 horns and the beast will turn against the prostitute and strip off her clothes and leave her naked. And then they will eat her flesh and burn the remains in the fire. And we went over this too, understanding that every resource, everything that covers the U.S., will be exposed. And we really are seeing this as we speak. In fact, God influenced their minds to do what he intended. So the Most High is still over this. To agree together to put their royal powers at the beast's disposal until the time when God's word should be fulfilled. The woman you saw is a great city which has authority over all the rulers of the earth, and we know that is the United Nations, which is New York City. Okay, and we understand, like I said before, New York City, Washington, D.C., it's all the same jazzle. Okay? It's all the same. Now, there's something taking place in the world. And while things are happening, and this is really important, right?
The next generation of young people.
This is really important because something is being molded, okay? Something is being molded. While things are going on, children are always being born, children are going to school, and something is happening. There is a war. There is a war, a spiritual war for the children, what they learn. Don't believe me? Check this out.
The next generation of young people won't remember October 7th in the same way. That's true in Israel and in America and broadly in the world. And we need to make sure two things. One, it's not that we don't forget. We need to make sure that the story is told properly so that when the history books write this, they don't write about the victims of Gaza, right? They can't. The history, and it's. I should be a little more precise. There were victims in Gaza, right? It's true. There are civilian casualties in every war that's ever been fought, but the victims were the people of the nation state of Israel. Though that the aggressor was the Iranian regime in the proxy of Hamas, and we need to make sure that the history books reflect that, and that requires each of us every day to talk about it in real time with our children, with our grandchildren, about it in a way that is serious and thoughtful and complete and moral.
I don't know how you can tell your children that other children being killed so you can have their land, their home, their clothes, their culture, their everything. I don't really know how you can do that morally, but there is a war. This is the last generations we are seeing. And you will see without a shadow of a doubt why that is true as we move along. Book of Ezekiel. Going to the prophet Ezekiel. I'm going to chapter 16. Now, this one, and I'm going to share with you, it was really interesting because this chapter highlights all the ills and the wrongs of the children of Israel, but also talks about the world, Babylon, as well. So I'll share with you. Excuse me. Verse 16 reads, "The word of the Most High was addressed to me as follows: The Son of Man, confront Jerusalem with her filthy crimes. Say, the Most High says this: By origin and birth you belong to the land of Canaan. Your father was an Amorite and your mother a Hittite. At birth, the very day you were born, there was no one to cut your navel string, or wash you in cleansing water, or rub you with salt, or wrap you in napkins. No one leaned kindly over you to do anything like that for you. You were exposed in the open fields. You were unloved as that one day you were born. I saw you struggling in your blood as I was passing, and I said to you, as you lay in your blood, live and grow like the grass of the fields. And you developed, you grew, you reached marriageable age. Your breasts and your hair both grew, but you were quite naked. And when I saw you as I was passing, your time had come, the time for love. I spread apart my cloak over you and covered your nakedness. I bound myself by oath. I made a covenant with you. It is the Most High who speaks, and you became mine. I bathed you in water, washed the blood off you. I anointed you with oil. I gave you embroidered dresses, fine leather, shoes, a linen headband, and a cloak of silk. I loaded you with jewels, gave you bracelets for your wrists and a necklace for your throat. I gave you nose ring and earrings. I put a beautiful diadem on your head. You were loaded with gold and silver and dressed in fine linen and embroidered silks. Your food was the finest flour, honey, and oil. You grew more and more beautiful, and you rose to be queen. The fame of your beauty spread through the nations since it was perfect. But I had clothed you with my own splendor. It is the Most High who speaks. You became infatuated with your own beauty. You have used your fame to make yourself a prostitute. You have offered your services to all comers. You have taken your clothes to brighten your high places, and there you have played the whore. You have taken my presents of gold and silver and jewelry, and made yourself human images to us in your whorings. You have taken your embroidered clothes and put them on the images, and the oil and the incense which are rightly mine you have offered to them. The bread I gave you, the finest flour, oil, and honey, with which I used to feed you, you have now offered to them as an appeasing fragrance. You have even, it is the the Most High, who speaks, taken the sons and daughters you bore me and sacrificed them as food to the images. Was it not enough for you just to be a whore? You have slaughtered my children and handed them over as a burnt offering to them. In all your filthy practices and your whorings, you have never remembered your youth or the time when you were quite naked and struggling in your own blood. To crown your wickedness, trouble for you, it is the Most High who speaks. You have built yourself a mound and made a high place at every crossroads. At the beginning of every road, you have built a high place to defile your beauty there and to give your body to every comer. You have piled whoring on whoring. You have lain down for those big membered neighbors, the Egyptians, who have piled whoring on whoring to provoke me. And now I have raised my hand against you. I have rationed your food. I have handed you over to the mercy of your enemies, the daughters of the Philistines, who are sick of your filthy ways. Still unsatisfied, you have prostituted yourself to the Assyrians. You have played the whore and not been satisfied even then. You have piled whoring on whoring with the Canaanite and the Chaldean, and even then not been satisfied. How easily led you were. It is the Most High who speaks, to behave no better than a bold faced. When when you built yourself a mound, when you built yourself a mound at the beginning of every road, and made a high place at every crossroads, you are not like the whore out for money. An adulteress welcomes strangers instead of her husband. The prostitute is paid. But you and your whoring have given your presents away to all your lovers. You have offered them gifts to attract them from everywhere. In your whoring, you have done the exact opposite from other women. No one was running after you, so you went and paid them. They did not pay you since your behavior was so outrageous. Well, then, whore, hear the word of the Most High. The Most High says this: for having undressed and let yourself be seen naked, while whoring with your lovers and your filthy idols, and for giving them your children's blood, for all this I am going to band together all the lovers who have pleasured you, both those you liked and those you disliked. I am going to band them together against you from all around. I will strip you in front of them and let them see you naked. I mean to punish you like women who commit adultery and murder. I intend to hand you over to fury and jealousy. I will hand you over to them. They will level your mound and demolish your high places. They will tear your clothes off, take your jewels, and leave you completely naked. They will then whip up the crowd against you. You will be stoned and run through with a sword. They will set your houses on fire and execute justice on you with crowds of women looking on. I will put an end to your whore. No more paid lovers for you. I will exhaust my fury against you. My jealousy will then leave you. I will be appeased. I shall be appeased, and my anger will stop, since you have never remembered your youth, since in all this you have done nothing but provoke me. I, in my turn, intend to bring your conduct down on your own head. It is the Most High who speaks. Have you not been disgusting with all your filthy practices? Now all the proverb makers will make up a proverb about you, like mother, like daughter. Yes, you are a true daughter of your mother, who hated her husband and her children, a true sister of your sisters, who hated their husbands and their children. Your mother was a Hittite, and your father was an Amorite. Your elder sister is Samaria, who lives on your left with her daughters. Your younger sister is Sodom, who lives on your right with her daughters. And you have not failed to copy their behavior. Throughout your career, you have shown yourself more corrupt than they were. As I live, it is the Most High who speaks. Your sister Sodom and her daughters have not been as bad as you and your daughters. The crime of your sister Sodom was pride, gluttony, arrogance, complacency. Such were the sins of Sodom and her daughters. They never helped the poor and needy. They were proud, engaged in filthy practices in front of me. That is why I have swept them away, as you have seen. And yet Samaria never committed half the crimes that you have. You have done far filthier things than they did. By your filthy practices, you have made your sisters seem almost innocent. And now you have to bear the shame for all those faults of which you have cleared your sisters. Since the grossness of the sins for which you bear the guilt is more horrible than theirs, they now appear more virtuous than you are. Be ashamed. Then bear the shame of having put your sisters in the right. I will restore them. I will restore Sodom and her daughters. I will restore Samaria and her daughters. And after that, I will restore you along with them, that you may bear your shame and be ashamed of all you have done. So counsel them. Your sister Sodom and your daughters will be restored to what they were. Samaria and her daughters will be restored to what they were. You and your daughters will be restored to what you were. Did you not gloat over your sister Sodom when you were still in your finery, before you were stripped naked? Now the daughters of Eden and all the women around are jeering at you, and the daughters of the Philistines are treating you like something beneath them, and so are all your neighbors. You have brought it on yourselves by brazenness and filth. And it is the Most High who speaks. For the Most High says this: I will treat you as you deserve, you who have despised your oath, even to the extent of breaking a covenant. But I will remember the covenant that I made with you when you were a girl, and I conclude a covenant with you that shall last forever. And you, for your part, will remember your past behavior and be covered with shame when I take your elder and younger sisters and make them your daughters, although this was not included in this covenant. I am going to renew my covenant with you, and you will learn that I am the Most High. And so remember, be covered with shame, and in your confusion be reduced to silence. When I have pardoned you for all that you have done, it is the Most High who speaks. Full stop. One moment. Thank you for your patience in that brief pause. All right. So, this chapter, you can see it highlighted a lot about the sins of the children of Israel. But when we look very, very closely, okay, in the book of Revelations, it says the enemies will tear their clothes and leave them completely naked. I mean, so what was done to the children of Israel is going to be done to Babylon, America, and the world. And you can see it. The United States looks terrible, right? The United States looks terrible from all angles. There's nothing right with it at this moment. Now, keep in mind here, right? It talks about the whore, the adulteress, and the prostitute. And what was the difference? The difference was that prostitute is paid. So, which means that in the United States, money rules in how a government works, how the politics work. If you can pay, you can play. Keep that in mind. One of the sins of Israel, if you can pay, you can play. Same sins as Babylon. Okay. And everything that Babylon did was what? Was to provoke the Most High. Think about this now. And we're gonna get even further into this to break this down. All right. And so you're starting to see the terrible things. I mean, these things are horrible as to what America is doing. Now, watch this, right? We're going to share some videos and show you how this blasphemy, the spiritual whoredom, comes from the United States. All right. So we got some videos here. All right. Now, remember, in the last lesson, that Trump said that he was going to, one, take Greenland, whether they like it or not, and that he says he doesn't need international law when he has his own morals. Okay? Do we remember that? Let's.
See any checks on your power on the world stage? Is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop, and that's law. Very good. I don't need international law. I'm not looking to hurt people.
So we see, just like he said before, they don't need international law. So then, with people who believe in this person comes ideologies. What kind of ideologies? Improper ideologies, sinful ideologies, ideologies, titles, deeds that are blasphemous. Okay, check this out.
I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I first heard that I might have to take up arms and kill my fellow Americans for Jesus when I was in elementary school. So, this notion of militarized faith, of fighting and dying for your faith, is something that was happening in the 1970s, probably before, but in the 19.
Now, I want you to hear that again now, okay?
I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I first heard that I might have to take up arms and kill my fellow Americans for Jesus when I.
So killing people in the name of Christ. I want you to think about that now. How wrong is that? Showing you, and this woman stated that she heard this when she was a child in the 70s. That's, brothers and sisters, this is 20, they're 2026, so that's what? 50 some odd years ago? That she was told that there would come this time that she would have to kill people in the name of Jesus, in the name of Christ.
Was in elementary school. So, this.
Now imagine with them putting Turning Point USA chapters in all the high schools, which I think they passed a bill to do that last year for the United States. Imagine what children would have to do and what children would have to go through if they were in these schools not realizing that. If you don't want to say that Jesus is God, which Christ is not God, Christ is not God. Okay? All right? If you don't want to say that, then your children will have to go through. They'll have to go through battles. Battle. I remember I made a lesson years ago and said, keep those babies out of them schools. Not just for the jib jab, the CV-19, not just for that, but because these ideologies are spreading so far to the point what, brothers and sisters, this is a part of the war. Let, please do not forget about that. Let me show you, and just a friendly reminder. Okay, this is this is this is a part of the war. And you remember that this is what? This is a part of the plan of the three world wars. And let's read it again because we're in the third world war, which is the last world war. Okay. It reads the third world war. And let me put that a little more, right? It reads the third world war must be fomented by taking advantage of differences caused by the agenda of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and leaders of the Islamic world. Now, please keep that in mind. At first, it had nothing to do with Christianity, right? It had to do with the Islamic world and what they call the political, or just in general, the Zionist. Okay? I want you to think about that. The differences. So here, once again, like I shared before, brothers and sisters, it was very important to understand. The Bible gives us a clear outline saying, Hosea 4 and 6, for my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. People would be destroyed for what? The differences that they didn't understand. Think about that. It says the war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and the political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. So they're wanting to. Think about that. Now, this is not the governments, these are the people. Keep that in mind. These are not the governments, these are the people. These are not the governments, these are the everyday citizens, the everyday people. It continues to read, meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. So they're going to fight wars to the point where it's going to tax the world. And people are going to be exhausted. Why would people be exhausted? Because they're not going to know which group to side on because they're seeing so much. They're being overstimulated by Hamas, 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 Israel, 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 and yeah, and this and this and that, and Iran, Iran, Iran. And they're being overstimulated so much, but they're not being taught. And then they go to these fake churches and these fake pastors, these fake imams who don't understand anything. and can't guide them properly through the things that's going on. It says, we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists. And I've shared this before. These are the most dangerous people. And we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm in which, in all its horror, will show clearly the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. So I want you to think of this and look at what's happening in the United States. If we're going to be truthful, and we always are, you can almost see that in Europe and in the United States, this social cataclysm is going to take place. It is going to take place. These are places where murders are up. These are places where discrimination is up. These are places where hatred is up. People do not read their texts. I don't care if they're Muslim. I don't care if they're Christian. They don't read the Bible. They don't read the Quran. They don't understand. Half of what they're even feeling is not even righteous. Think about it. And so, what's going to happen is the world is going to see the downfall of these nations. I want you to think about that. Because of the exhaustion of who to side for. And then people are going to see real atheism. And we understand atheism is crazy. Atheism says that there is no God. We understand we were created by the Most High. We understand the trees was created. I mean, how can you say there is no God? Look at the clouds. Who put them there? Only the Most High. We can't even jump that high. Right? Who put the sun there? Right? Who put the moon there? Who put the stars in the sky? It was the Most High who did this. But because of exhaustion, they will turn. And because they do not want to believe in the value of truth, they will say there is no such thing as the Most High. It reads, then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude in disillusion with Christianity. Now, I want you to understand something serious is occurring. And we're going to highlight this here. It says, then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. Who is destroying civilizations today? It says the multitude in disillusion with Christianity. Now, what nations mostly claim Christianity? America and Europe. So there is going to be a full out war. Now, the pastors have spun this to that they're going to be persecuted, and the people are going to believe that they're being persecuted in righteousness' sake. He said, what? That's right. The Christians will believe that they are being persecuted for righteousness' sake. The same people who believe that the rapture is in the Bible, the same people who turned a blind eye to Gaza, but at the same time want Iran to be liberated, the same people who believe that invading Venezuela is amazing. These are the people that it says disillusion with Christianity, and the Most High is going to allow this because They couldn't be changed. They couldn't be warned. Notice, we read in the book of Ezekiel, even and several, even Jeremiah, right? Even Isaiah, right? The Most High sends his men, the prophets, the ministers, even Noah, right? He sends the people to warn them before the destruction comes. And when people's ears turned closed and they stopped listening, then the Most High says, your job is done, my child. Now move forward. Most High is not going to have someone beat a dead horse. I repeat, the Most High is not going to have someone beat a dead horse. Just the same concept goes. If your family is not listening, goodbye bye. Goodbye bye. Adios. It reads, so the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. And who has been in charge of civilization? The United States and Europe. Whose deitistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, meaning because they thought they were going to get raptured. How would you go without a compass or direction? Because they were believing in lies. Because there is no rapture. These are the same people who said they were still believing in 2012. These are the same people who were saying they were going to stand for righteousness' sake during the CV-19s. These are the same people who sold their things for the rapture. They're disillusioned, and every month comes a new trial where they're losing direction and compass. And when that comes, that point, that ultimate point comes, when they can no longer stand by what they call here the state of Israel, the ones who was created in 1948, not the Revelation 2 and 9ers. I mean, the Revelation 2 and 9ers, not the real children of Israel, scattered through the four corners. Once they realize that the truth will prevail and it will come out, they will have only two choices: either repent and apologize for being a part of the chaos and destruction and the deceit, and follow the Most High's people and his, and I won't even say his people, but his true leaders, right? Or wander with no direction and confusion. And we're going to keep playing more videos, but you'll be able to say in your own mind, yeah, they're not really going to repent. Most people won't. But continuing, it says, from that moment, be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration. So, because, and in light terms, brothers and sisters, some people will give up and say, okay, I really want to understand. What have I told you, brothers and sisters? What did Baruch, what was it, 80, 85, 83? Forgive me for forgetting, but it's one of those in the pseudographia. There will be a time where you couldn't read anymore. And because they don't have time to sit and read and study, because they were finger warriors, because they were making videos about, yeah. They make more videos than read the word of God, and then they'd be confused, and then what? they will end up doing what? Knowing where, without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, which is the devil, brought finally out in the public view. So, wait a second now. Continuing, it says this manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So let's follow this very carefully. Christians will be lured into following Lucifer. And how would they do that? You ready? Lucifer wouldn't come out and say, my name is Lucifer. He wouldn't do that. He's going to come as the Antichrist. He's going to come as the false Messiah. And it's so sad because the same people disillusioned for a rapture, they're going to be disillusioned for the truth. What we're seeing right now in the world is the destruction of Christianity. Now, we remember, right? Watch this. Watch this, right? Now, we were told, oh, excuse me, and I think it was, go through here, take that out. We were told what? These are the times, understand them, don't sleep as they do, right? Now, we were also told what? To tear down every false imagination. In light, if you don't realize it, the Most High will tear down every single religion that is not real. Oh my word. Oh my word. So if Christianity is going to be destroyed, I guess that means it's not real. And you see, to know the end of this, to know the end how this goes, you would have to have read the pseudographia. But let's continue.
I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I first heard that I might have to take up arms and kill my fellow Americans for Jesus when I was in elementary school. So, you know, this notion of militarized faith, of fighting and dying for your faith, is something that was happening in the 1970s, probably before, but in the 1970s. And so people have sat in pews now for 5 decades. And if they didn't take an off ramp, many of the off ramps that were offered, most of those people are highly radicalized extremists who believe that it would be okay to fight and die for Jesus.
Right. But video games are probably the real problem, right?
Right. I mean, but video games have probably contributed to this notion of violence and
right. That it's justified. You know, you argue that, you know, Genesis isn't just, and particularly those verses, isn't just a Bible verse to these folks. You know, it's a legal brief.
Yes.
For conquering the world. And I think that's a incredible framing of this. And but let me kind of dial into that. When, Lil Marco or Stephen Miller or anyone in the regime talks about, spheres of influence, are they literally, is this scripture they're citing, or is it scripture as foreign policy? How are they viewing all of this?
I can't speak to each individual person, but for Marco Rubio, he very much views the world through the lens of Christian dominion. He is a Christian nationalist Catholic extremist.
Right.
Now, it's getting, as my babies say, it's getting slicey, right? It's getting really spicy here. You heard him mention something called the sphere of influence. It reads, in the field of international relations, a sphere of influence, SOI, is a spatial region or concept division over which a state or organization has a level of cultural, economic, military, or political exclusivity. While there may be a formal alliance or other treaty obligations between the influence and influencer, such formal arrangements are not necessary, and the influence can only be more of an example of soft power. Similarly, a formal alliance does not necessarily mean that one country lies within another's sphere of influence. High levels of exclusivity have historically been associated with higher levels of conflict. Ooh, right? So now the issue is countries wanting power. And now we're seeing the United States wanting to what? Have that sphere of what? Influence even more. And they're just kind of just showing it, right? Just showing it. You can even see, says here, a 1912 newspaper cartoon highlighting United States influence in Latin America following the Monroe Doctrine, which we went over. Very interesting, huh? Very wild. Now, when they say disillusion, we're going to focus on this word, right? Disillusioned. Let's look up this word, okay? Let's see if it's in here. Disillusion. To be free or freed from Christianity. Well, what? Right? Disillusion with Christianity. Now, we understand it doesn't mean that, right? It means, illusion, disillusion with Christianity, free from the illusion of what? Disillusion would be free from the, let's put it together now. Will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, free from the illusion of Christian. Wow. So you're meaning to tell us that, wow, Satan really gonna get them bodies. He really wants disillusion with Christianity. Now, how would that happen? How? There's no way it would happen, right? Can you give an example? Sure. No problem. Let's see. What does it mean to be, and we won't play this whole video. Excuse me for the language ahead of time. Okay. But what does it mean? There is some language in here, so I apologize. What does it mean to be disillusioned with Christianity? and nationalism as well. Check this out.
No, it's because you're in a cult.
What if Donald Trump says, I want you to carpet bomb Oklahoma City, everyone? You think the Air Force should carry that out?
Yes. There might be a reason we don't know.
This is insane.
You cannot be this stupid. Jesus Christ. Oh, my. This podcast was going well until that. You just said it's cool. We levels Oklahoma. You're like, yeah, it. There must be a reason. Like, you literally can't be that dumb.
You know what the problem is? Mom and I don't believe he'll ever blow up Oklahoma because we're on his side, so's the whole state.
No, it's because you're in a cult.
You guys are worried and afraid because you live in a state where it might happen.
Okay, let's theoretically say that does happen. Let's say Trump sends in the Marines to Los Angeles, California, and let's say I'm out going to see a movie on a weekend, and he says, go into that shopping mall. Quiet, Piggy. He says, go into that shopping mall and everyone you see. And let's say I get gunned down by the Marines for just being at a mall.
Okay, number one,
All four.
let's just take
Hey,
it
Dad,
one step
wait a minute,
further.
Mom, wait 1 second. Dad,
Wait.
hang on, Mom. Dad, you just said you are for Donald Trump murdering me for no reason, and you would support that.
If he walks into a mall to people with military,
There has to be a reason.
there's a reason. And I'm all for it. And the people in Los Angeles, California are as deserving of execution as the assholes in New York City. You're all communists.
Now, this is what it means to be disillusioned. With Christianity and nationalism, because this is where America is, and I believe, just as the Bible says, nothing is new under the sun, but this is just a bit worse. I mean, because, and I know I'm not taking away history of what happened to many people, right? But this is a bit worse where you don't need to be in the military. You don't need to be a part of that. You just have individuals who support it and say, yep, well, if he kills you, there's a good reason for it. Notice how the Most High seeks mercy. He wants mercy for us. He tells us numerous times to seek for mercy. This is very important. But this is why Christianity has to go. Because you may think this is just a family, because that was a son and a daughter, and talking to their mother and father, and their mother and father said that if Trump killed them in the name of Jesus and of government, that it would be okay to them. No. You see, and for our Muslim brothers and sisters watching, just like you have told, and some Muslim brothers have told me, hey, the Quran is correct, but Muslims aren't. So don't judge Islam by the Muslims. Judge it by God's word. And I'm asking the Muslims to remember just what they say as well. Don't judge the Bible by Christianity, because they don't follow the Bible at all. Judge it by what's in the Bible. I mean, hey, even the Quran says to follow those scriptures as well, the prophets and so forth, the prophecies as well. But I digress, right? Disillusioned. Now, I'm going to share another video, okay? And we all remember, right? Matthew 5, right? And I'll go there real quickly. We all remember the Gospels, right? And I'm going to Matthew 5 and 7. Now, in the Beatitudes, right? We can really read, right? I'll read it. So it reads, seeing the crowds, he went up the hill, and that's Christ. There he sat down and was joined by his disciples. All right. Then he began to speak. This is what he taught them. How happy are the poor in spirit. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Happy is the gentle. They shall inherit the earth for their heritage. Happy those who mourn. They shall be comforted. Happy those who hunger and thirst for what is right. They shall be satisfied. Happy the merciful. They shall have mercy shown them. Happy the pure in heart, they shall see God. Happy the peacemakers, they shall be called sons of God. Happy those who are persecuted in the cause of right, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Happy are you when people abuse you and persecute you and speak all kinds of calumny against you, which is evil, against you on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven. This is how they persecuted the prophets before you. Now, in reality, if you understand this scripture that Christ was saying, they changed something because Christ never came in his name. Christ came in the Most High's name. Notice how they shall see God. They'll be called the sons of God, right? They shall inherit, right? Now, notice how it said, happy are you when people abuse you and persecute you and speak all kinds of calumny against you on my account. It's supposed to be on the Most High. It's supposed to be on the Most High. And you would receive persecution because you're saying Christ said this. That's true. But what was Christ's message? To correct what was wrong and tell people to follow the Most High properly. So you would be persecuted for correcting what was wrong and telling people to serve the Most High properly. Now, the emphasis here is number 9. Happy the peacemakers, they shall be called the sons of God. This video I got from Twitter, okay, X people call it, and it's from the United States Department of Homeland Security. Watch this. Now, first things first, this is them, their edit. They put, blessed are the peacemakers. So I want you to understand when the Most High says Babylon is blasphemous, already you're like, okay, blessed are the peacemakers. It's referring to the Beatitudes, Christ. Now, it should be something peaceful, right? Let's see how peaceful this is.
Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to.
Now, keep in mind, so they're calling the military the sons of God. Now, how blasphemous is this? Come on now. Come on now. Christ's words, the Most High's words, the Bible has been hijacked. It has been taken over by occultic people who hate God, who hate Christ, and who hate everything of peace and righteousness. Let's keep going.
So glad we almost made it. So sad we had to fade it. Everybody wants to. Everybody wants to.
Is that not blasphemy? Because would you see Christ and his disciples going kicking down doors and then they're going to use the scripture, right? Maybe you should see it again. No, I'm just going to. Maybe you should see it again, right? Maybe you should see. Let's watch it again.
Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. Only to have you right behind you. So glad we've almost made it. So sad we had to fade it. Everybody wants to. Everybody wants to.
No, that's not blasphemous. No, peacemakers are law enforcement. Banging in people's house. I mean, they're just like the disciples, right? Just like the disciples, right? Yeah, you see, just like it said, disillusioned with Christianity. Disillusioned with Christianity. And where is this leading, you may ask? Yes, that's right. I have another Department of Homeland Security. This is from PBS. PBS. Check this out.
From the U.S. Department of Labor, a message.
Keep in mind, they just defunded PBS as well. But anyhow.
From the U.S. Department of Labor, a message. One homeland, one people, one heritage. Remember who you are, American. It's a video that appears to be part of a campaign now ramping up to sell the administration's efforts to the American people. For example, calling on potential ICE recruits to, quote, defend the homeland from outsiders while featuring heroic images of white men, often from a bygone era. Then there's this tweet from Friday, an ICE recruitment ad featuring the turn of phrase, "We'll have our home again," plastered over an image of a man on horseback and a stealth bomber flying in the distance. That's a reference to the song "We'll Have Our Home Again," a white supremacist anthem favored by the Proud Boys.
Oh my God, we'll have our home again. By God, we'll have our home.
Another image tells supporters to, quote, trust the plan, the slogan of the right-wing conspiracy theory known as QAnon, which posits there's a global cabal of pedophiles and deep state actors trafficking children, and that Trump is fighting it. It's also a movement heavily involved in the insurrection on January 6, 2021. Last week, the Trump administration published a new website rewriting that history to blame Democrats for security failures that day and to justify the president's pardoning of more than 1,500 defendants. Weighing in on another era, last week President Trump also sat for a lengthy interview with the New York Times. He was asked about the civil rights movement and told reporters that while the landmark legislation did some good things, he said, quote, "It also hurt a lot of people that deserve to go to a college or deserve to get a job were unable to get a job. So it was a reverse discrimination." A day later, Trump supporter and billionaire Elon Musk wrote 100 above this message on X, which read in part, quote, "If white men become a minority, we will be slaughtered. White solidarity is the only way to survive."
Now, I'm going to pause it now so you can see that. If white men become a minority, we will be slaughtered. Remember, if non-whites openly hate white men, while white men hold a collective majority, then they will be 1,000 times more hostile and cruel when they are a majority over whites. White solidarity is the only way to survive. January 7th, 2026.
White solidarity is the only way to survive. That's known as the Great Replacement Theory, popular in white nationalist circles, that falsely claims the white population is being intentionally replaced by non-whites. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Liz Landers.
Christian nation, godly nation, blaspheming Christ, blaspheming what is good, disillusioned with Christianity, disillusioned. And you know what? It's sad because the term to be like Christ is not a bad term, because people say to be like Muhammad, If you read the truth about that person, then you would see like, okay, they did good things. They, went to orphanages. They took in women. He took in women who were widowed. He would become the father of people, of orphans. He would feed the homeless. Things of this nature. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call a person, to say, oh, it's Mohammedan or be Muhammad-like, but there's nothing wrong with pointing out the good. Be David-like. Okay, you want to say be a Muhammad-like, as long as someone did righteousness. You want to say be Peter-like. You want to say be Christ-like. You want to say be John-like. But the problem is, none of the Bible was emphasizing to be like anyone. It said, be like your Father who in heaven is perfect. That was Matthew 5:48. You must therefore be perfect just as your heavenly Father is perfect. Remember, Christ said, don't call me good. Don't call me good. Don't call me good. But do what's right. Do what's right. Moving forward. Now we're going to go to Jeremiah. I'm having a feeling I'm going to break this up, but Most High willing, we can keep going. We're on a roll, right? Praise the Most High. I apologize for the speeding through. All right. Jeremiah 51. Now, you're going to find it here that there's a change. I'm going to show you. Okay. And this is really important. So we're going to cover the article of World War III for just a moment. And starting from verse 1 here in 51, let me pull this up. It reads, the Most High says this, against the citizens, against the citizens of Leb Kamai, I will rouse a destroying spirit. Now, let me show you the footnotes now. This is against Babylon. Okay, that's all it means. All right. Just showing you. Leb Kamai is Babylon. I will rouse a destroying spirit. Let's go back. The heart of those who rise against me. All right. Now it says, I will send winnowers to Babylon to winnow her and leave her country bare. For they will beleaguer her from every side in the day of disaster. Let no archer bend his bow. Let no man swagger in his coat of mail. And that's the military. Now, we got to look up some of these words because here in verse 2, it says, the Most High will send unto Babylon fanners. For fanners, it's winnowers. Okay. For in that day, they shall be against her round about. This says, for they will beleaguer her round about. Now, I want to show you these words, they mean something. Okay, so really quick, let's show you what it says winnowers, right? Winnowers here in their term means foreigners. Could that be why they're ramping up to get rid of so many foreigners in America? Could that be why I want to show something. Could that be why Donald Trump just suspended visa processing for 75 nations today? Could it be? I just don't know, right? Now, winnower, going back, they said, oh, they believe it is foreigners. Now, I'm going to show you through the e-sword what it says. One who winnows, and kind of a generic, to separate and drive off the chaff from the grain by means of wind, to fan and beat as with wings, to examine, to sift for purpose of separating falsehood from truth, to separate chaff from corn. Oh, wait. Oh, wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. Winnow. Now the Most High says what? This, you have never seen this before. The Most High says, I will send winnowers to Babylon to winnow her and leave her country bare, to expose her, to separate in parts, to form, to sift, to examine. Now here is the tricky part. Let's go back into Sirach 33, or Ecclesiasticus 14 and 15. Good is set against evil, life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two. One is always against another. Now, I want to show you how important this word is now. Because if this word winnow means a paring down, if this word winnow means to expose grain, if this word winnow means to separate in parts according to form, to sift, to examine, that means everyone in America is being observed. Oh my word. That means everyone in Babylon is being spiritually tested every waking moment. And you want to know how we know this is true? Let's keep reading. I will send winnowers, those to expose, those to examine, those to sift, and leave her country bare, for they will beleaguer her from every side. Now, let's get this word. Beleaguer, to besiege and surround, okay, to besiege. All right? Camp, an army. That's why they're scared. They're going after Cuba. Cuba was known to hold Russian missiles. Now they want Greenland because they don't want China. It'll be game over. Even though they got all their vessels in the Pacific and Atlantic and South Atlantic Ocean. And even Iranian vessels as well. That's why they season oil vessels. So it says, Most High said, for they will beleaguer, surround, besiege her from every side in the day of disaster. Let no archer bend his bow. Now, that's kind of strange, right? I want you to think about that. That's kind of strange. Wait, what? Let no archer bend his bow. Now, we're in verse 3. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. Now, whoa. This says bendeth. This one says no archer bendeth his bow. That's tough now. Because of let no archer bend his bow, that means missiles wouldn't work. No quarter for her young warriors, vow her whole army to the ban. In the country of the Chaldeans, the slaughtered will fall in the streets of Babylon, those whom the swords run through. This is talking about a what? An invasion. What did we start about this lesson about? In 2nd Ezra, it stated the Most High said there would be a time of invasion. At this moment, Babylon is time clicking for an invasion. This is because their country was full of sin against the Holy One of Israel. Who is the Holy One? That's Christ. Now, I mean, think of Catholicism. Think of all the religions, Christianity. Think of the Knights Templar. Think of the Freemasons. Think of the Bones of Skull. Think of all these organizations that did rites and rituals in the name of Christ. Come on now. That's also a part of the reason. They're doing things in the name of the Most High. They're doing things in the name of Christ. That has nothing to do with Christ. And therefore, they're making people worldwide believe a perception about Christ and the Bible that's not even real. But Israel is not bereft of his God, being forsaken. Now, this comes into play. Escape out of Babylon. Save your lives, each one of you. Do not perish yourselves in her punishment. For this is the time of the Most High's vengeance. He is paying her her reward. Now, this becomes very interesting. Even more, because in verse 2, the Most High said, I will send winnowers. So you mean to tell me there is a process, not just physically, but before the physical destruction comes, there is a process of what? Winnowing, of exposing. Before Babylon gets destroyed, things must be exposed first. Governments, organization, businesses, people, family, friends, relationships, children, jobs, schooling, everything, food, all of it, everything must be exposed. Now, what's the difference between the people in America, in Babylon? The Most High is telling, the Most High is giving the ultimatum. He's giving, I will like to coin this as the Lot ultimatum. Escape or perish in their punishment. This is, we can call this the Lot ultimatum. Escape or die with them. Now, who would be able to escape out of Babylon? Now, this is the tough part. Some people are going to say, I don't have money. The Most High is going to make a way for people. All right. For the people he wants to go, he's going to make it. Because I shared this in one of the first portions of this, in that same chapter in 2nd Ezra, where the Most High said that, hey, there's going to be invasions. He also said that people who did not listen, people who stayed in their sin, he will not deliver them. All right. Here at the Journey of the Remnant, we have focused on preparing you for trial by fire. All right. And we have always stood firm in telling you, if you are in the U.S., seek the lands of Isaiah 11. And if not, go to the surrounding areas that suit you for safety, so that when the time comes, and once those places go through their war, you would be able to possibly make it. We've stood on this word for this entire ministry. Going back, the Most High said, I will send winnowers. Now, this is a destroying spirit. Keep this in mind. A destroying spirit to expose what? To sift, to expose. Look at that, to examine, to sift for the purpose of separating falsehood from truth, the chaff from the corn. So, in reality, that spirit that the Most High is sending, that part didn't even come from the Persians yet. That part didn't even come from the Persians yet. Now, they have a destroying spirit, that's true, that they want to get rid of the US, but there's a destroying spirit that comes first to let you know who's who and who's what. I will send winnowers to sift for the purpose so you understand who is living in falsehood from the truth. Let's keep going. That's why the Most High says, hey, if you can understand what I'm saying, you need to understand to escape out of Babylon because this is a destroying spirit, meaning people who can't leave, they'll want to destroy you. They'll want to destroy you by envy. They'll want to destroy you by jealousy. They'll want to destroy you by every. Never mind, right? Escape. Escape out of Babylon, save your lives, each one of you. Do not perish yourselves in her punishment, for this is the time of the Most High's vengeance. He is paying her her reward. Babylon was a golden cup in the Most High's hands. She made the whole world drunk. The nations drunk her wine and then went mad. Babylon has suddenly fallen, is broken. Lament for her. Go fetch up balms for her wounds. Perhaps she can be cured. We tried to cure Babylon. She has got no better. Leave her alone. Let us go to his own. Let each go to his own country. Now, let me get that footnote there for y'all. It's G, right? There you go. Let everyone go to their own country. And it's kind of scary, right? In some sense. Yeah. People think it's kind of scary. You may say, I don't know what my country is. Well, we understand that if you are the children of Israel, or if you're with the children of Israel, that the land from Egypt all the way down to Somalia and that region, and all the way to Iran and up, all belongs to the children of Israel. Now, granted, it's going to get destroyed. That is for sure. But the Most High will not destroy his people who live in righteousness. So, understanding, right, when it says, let everyone go to his own country, a lot of people in the Western Hemisphere, if you are, you know, and I don't know too much about Canada, but I know that they said there were natives there, but I don't necessarily know the history of Canada. But I can speak on understanding America and Central and South American countries as to the Holy Scriptures said that the 10 tribes came to the Americas, okay, to do things their own way to serve God. And of course, it doesn't work that way when we choose, we pick and choose to do what we want. Okay, Most High gave us a land, we're to go back to that land, right? Now, that in no way, shape, or form means this. And this is a trap. Israel approves immigration of India's forgotten Jews. This is a trap because they are wanting to exterminate the people who claim to be. I mean, because think about this, right? You mean to tell me that they accepted Ethiopian Jews and then put them in the desert? What do you think they will do with India's Jews. Come on now. What do you think they will do with them? Really? And I'm not really certain. I'm not really sure why people believe through all the things that you've seen through the past years as to why you would believe that these are. And you know why? These are the people. You know why they would believe it though? Because when you just follow the Torah, it makes it look like you're following your brothers and sisters. But when you fail to understand Christ, when you fail to understand revelation and understand that this is the synagogue of Satan, when you fail to understand that these are not the people, then it looks like someone's welcoming their arms to you. Very sad. Very sad. Very sad. Continuing. We tried to cure Babylon. She has gotten no better. Let her alone and let each go to his own country. And emphasize what the Most High said. Leave her alone. Like, stop doing business. Stop dealing with the sinful nation and just move on already. Stop thinking that things is going to get better. I'll give y'all an example. Most people didn't even see this. Let me show y'all. It's on. I want to show y'all. And these are the signs, especially for people who are relying on this. Okay, you ready? Let's check this out. Okay. This is for our elderly. This is for anyone using this. I saw this and nobody was talking about this. What Social Security could look like in 2035. The future of Social Security remains uncertain, forcing people to ask questions like, will Social Security run out? Now, it says, let's just get to the point. By 2035, the number of Americans 65 and older will increase by more than 78 million, from about 58 million today. As a result, more people will be taking money out of Social Security system, but fewer will be paying in. That doesn't mean the program will run out of money entirely, though. Payroll tax is expected to cover about 78%. Now, that's what they say now. Let's keep going. How much would Social Security in 2035 2033 shortfall costs you. The Social Security Trust Fund will be insolvent in 2033, and by 2035 will have reduced its benefits by 23%. As a single largest spending, lawmakers are running out of time to fix the Social Security. So I'll put these in the description. But guess what? They've been changing their stance, but they did say prior to all of this that yes, it will be obsolete in the near future. All finished. All finished. Se acabou. All done. It behooves you, as the Most High says, to leave her alone and do it expeditiously. Quickly, will you? Because if you keep on rolling the dice, well, eventually, well, you're going to get those, what do they call them? The snake eyes, right? And you're going to lose everything. Keep on playing with time when you don't own it, and you're going to find out the hard way. Moving forward. So leave her alone and let us go to his own country. Yes, her sentence reaches to the sky, rises to the very clouds. The Most High has vindicated our integrity. Come, let us tell in Zion what the Most High, our God, has done. Sharpen your arrows, fill the quivers. Now, notice the Most High doesn't say sharpen the arrows until he starts telling his people after to leave. We're giving you a warning that that destroying spirit is the winnowers. It's dividing the wheat from the tares, the false from what's true, so that when you leave, you understand how to maneuver yourself and also where to go. Because if Christianity is going to get destroyed, any other country that is following it is going to get destroyed too. Wouldn't that make sense? Because all lies must be destroyed. Hmm. Very, very interesting. The Most High has roused the spirit of the king of Medes because he has a plan against Babylon to destroy it. And what did they been saying? They said, "Oh, as of today, they said, hey, the next bullet won't miss." That's what they said on social media. The leader of Iran, he said, "You will see the downfall of Donald Trump." That's what they said. This is the vengeance of the Most High, the revenge for his temple. Against the walls of Babylon display the standard. Now, anybody see that video that the Mexican government sent out where they got all the troops now going to the border of Mexico? People's like, hey, what about the cartel? And they were like, hey, well, you want to bomb us, so we're going to show you something. They didn't send the Federal Policia. They sent the military, which, yeah, they didn't look very soft to me. Okay. It says, strengthen the guard, post the sentries, take up concealed positions. For the Most High made a plan, and he has treated the citizens of Babylon as he promised he would. Enthroned beside abundant waters. Who was that? Just like in Revelation. Rich in treasures. Who was that? Babylon. Now you meet your end. The finish of your pillaging. I mean, what are they doing to Venezuela? What are they doing to Syria? What have they done and still doing to Iraq and Afghanistan, Nigeria, Sudan, Somalia? What have they done to many nations? Vietnam. They've pillaged. Now, see that? It says finish means a measure or the truth. Now, if we take this and apply it properly, you now meet your end, the finish of your pillaging, which means the truth will come out. The Monroe Doctrine. You are the world police. You take. You don't need international law. You'll go to any waters and hurt anyone for your own interests. Pillage, right? Let's see. Pillage, act of plundering. Plunder, loot, ill treat, plunder, and that makes me. And it says you could see pillage to plunder, despoil, strip of money or goods by open violence. That also is what? When they sanction countries. Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. When they stop people from doing money. You understand those sanctions is the reason Venezuela is the way it is. Iran is the way it is, why the currency doesn't work. If they say, nope, your money means nothing, your money means nothing. They are hurting people. Essentially, it's not their government, it's sanctions who control the world. Now, that leads me to go back to something you probably haven't heard. A moment. Okay. You haven't heard of Pax Silica. And you see, Pax Silica is what? Commitment, mutual prosperity, technological progress, and economic security for our peoples. If the 20th century ran on oil and steel, the 21st century runs on compute and minerals that feed it. This historic declaration hails a new economic security consensus, ensuring aligned partners build the AI ecosystem of tomorrow, from energy and critical minerals to high-end manufacturing and models. Pax Silica is the Department of the State's flagship effort on AI supply chain security, advancing new economic security consensus among ally and trusted partners. Now, hold on. Hold that thought there, Tiger. So, I wanted to share with you, just in case you thought that that this would be small, okay? I'm going to show you. Led Economic Security Coalition focus on securing technology supply chains with initial members include US, Australia, Israel, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, UK, Netherlands, UAE, and Qatar, with India expected to join. These are the groups. Now, I'm not sure, but I'm certain that Africa has the minerals that they're talking about. So how do they plan on getting those minerals? I don't see an African country here. I'm just saying. But anywho, never mind. Anyone who follows this beast, and you see the finishing of your pillaging, they're gonna keep on putting things out there, but it's gonna come to an end. And you're seeing the world is dividing from one to another. He who supports Babylon, he who doesn't. Continuing, by his own self, the Most High hath sworn, had I filled you with men as plentiful, I had I filled you with men as plentiful as locusts, the war cry would still have been raised against you. By his power he made the earth, by his wisdom he set the world firm, by his discernment spread out the heavens. When he thunders, there is a tumult of water in the heavens. He raised clouds from the boundaries of earth, makes a lightning flash for the downpour. He brings a wind from his storehouse. At this, all men stand stupefied, uncomprehending. Every goldsmith blushes for the idol he has made, since his images are nothing but delusion. With no breath in them, they are nothing, a laughable production. When the time comes for them to be punished, they will vanish. The portion of Jacob is not like these. For he has formed everything, and Israel is the tribe that is his heritage. His name is the Most High. You were my mace, a weapon of war. With you I crushed the nations, struck kingdoms down. With you crushed horse and rider, a chariot and charioteer. With you crushed man and woman, old man and young, youth and maid. With you crushed shepherd and flock, plowman and team, governors and nobles. But I will let you see how I make Babylon and the inhabitants of Chaldea pay for all the wrongs that they have done to Zion. Now, here is this. When I read this again and again and again, and I said, when you read this, right, through the one on the left, it becomes it was weird, right? Because thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee I will break in pieces. This one says, with you I crush. That's past tense. Okay. One is past tense. With thee I will. This is future. Now, hadn't been an English professor, maybe I'm the only one who caught that, but will is future. Crushed is past tense. With you I crushed the nations. With you crushed horse and rider. Now, here's where it changed. With thee I will break. With thee I will break in pieces the chariot. You see how? With thee I will also break in pieces. No. So see where they was changing stuff. So now it looks like the Most High's children are going to be doing this. But then you sit there and think, if you're going to do this, how are you going to leave? Oh man, these animals changing our scriptures, right? If you're doing this, how are you going to leave? When he said, when you leave this place, what? Let your mind be on Jerusalem, right? That means peace. But if you read it properly, now watch this, I will render unto Babylon in the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight. Here, it says, I will let you see how I make Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea pay for all the wrongs they have done to Zion. Done in Zion, done to Zion, done in Zion, done to Zion. Two different meanings. So understand, in the left, the children of Israel are going to go to war and get physical, in this sense of Babylon. In the right, the Most High says, there was at one point you were my weapon of war. But I will let you see, meaning you will be watching the destruction of those who hurt you, not be the one causing it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, I would like to say and who would we be watching with this destruction? It would be the Persians. I would like to share this now. Now, this is where it also gets tricky for our Muslim brothers and sisters. Like the Quran said to adhere by the Bible, and I shared this in a lesson as well, right? Where it says, unless you accept the scriptures that came before the Quran, you're still not going to heaven, right? So this is where we get really tricky. There's this hadith that's been going on social media, right? And I looked it up. And this is the hadith. Oh, wait, what just happened? There's this hadith, right? And it says, by Allah's messenger, that Muhammad said, the Dajjal would be followed by 70,000 Jews of Isfahan wearing Persian shawls. Now, here their explanation is, quick lesson, be aware of those who follow the Antichrist and do not be deceived by them. It reads, this hadith is about the followers of the Antichrist of Dajjal, who will be 70,000 Jews from Isfahan wearing Persian shawls. According to Islamic tradition, the Antichrist will appear at the time close to Judgment Day and will attempt to lead people away from Islam and toward disbelief. He will be followed by many people who have been deceived by him and his false promises. This hadith warns us that some of these followers may come from a particular group, 70,000 Jews from Isfahan wearing Persian shawls. So we should be aware of them and be not deceived by their words or actions. We should also remember that no matter how powerful or convincing someone may seem, they cannot change God's laws or his judgment on Judgment Day. Full stop. Now, here is where it gets tricky, because there are Jews in Iran. Yeah. They don't share that. And there is a video, and I have to confirm it before I share it, but there is a video with the president, not the Ayatollah, but the president of Iran meeting with Jews. And I have it. I just have to confirm it. And if this is the case, then this could be very interesting, because Isfahan is not too far from Elam. But this could be interesting because they believe that this will release that these individuals are working with devils, while they also believe in Netanyahu, these Jews that they're referring to. They are not the children of Israel. They are, a lot of people are, what is that term that they're talking about now? Gen Z, I think they call it cosplaying. They're playing a game here. Some people really believe that they're Jews, but they're really not. Okay? But they're still going to go through the motions. And they believe that because Israel is claiming them to be Jews, that they're following the right Jews. Have mercy. Now, this is where, for our Muslim brothers and sisters, where it gets really tricky. Because we have Persians who destroy Babylon, and they're completely oblivious to this. They're completely oblivious to this. I tell you, people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. But once again, going back, right? I will render unto Babylon, right? Yeah, you see that? I will let you see how I make Babylon and the inhabitants of Chaldea pay for all her wrongs they have done to Zion. It is the Most High who speaks. So the children of Israel would be able to watch the destruction, not have to partake in it. Wow. My quarrel is with you, mountain of destruction. It is the Most High who speaks, destroyer of the whole world. Who is that? Babylon. Destroyer of the whole world, I will stretch out my hand against you and send you tumbling from the crags, as the rocks, and make you a mountain scorch. Never a cornerstone will be taken from you, never a foundation stone either, for you will be a desert forever. It is the Most High who speaks. Display the standard throughout the world. That means tell the world that the destruction is coming. They keep threatening. I, for one, don't want to see. I, for one, don't want to be in the destruction. I'd rather see the destruction. Amen. Sound the trumpet among the nations, prepare nations to make war on her. Summon kingdoms against her, Arat, Mini, Ashkenaz, that's Germany. Call the roll of her enemies, officer. Bring up the cavalry, bristling like locusts. Prepare nations to make war on her. The king of Media, with his governors and dignitaries in the whole territory under his rule. That means these will be allies of what? Iran, maybe like Pakistan, right? Here it's given Armenia. And Armenia like sits between, right? I mean, it's kind of like a hidden place, but kind of, I think it sits between Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, if I'm not mistaken. Then the earth trembled and wreathed, for the Most High's plan against Babylon was going forward to change the country of Babylon into an unpopulated desert. The warriors of Babylon have done with fighting. They have taken to their strongholds. Their strength has gone. They are like women now. Her houses are on fire. Her gates are shattered. Courier follows close on courier. Messenger on messenger, to tell the king of Babylon that his city has been stormed from every side. The fords occupied, the bastions turned down, the fighting men thrown into panic. For the Most High, the God of Israel, says this: the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor when it is being trodden. A little while there the grain will lie that has been harvested. He has devoured, consumed me, that the king of Babylon, he has left me like an empty dish. Like a dragon, he has swallowed me whole. He has filled his belly with delicacies. May her violence to me and all my sufferings be avenged on Babylon. I'm showing you these footnotes now. Sufferings of the Most High now. All right. Say to the people of Zion, O the inhabitants of Chaldea, be my blood, says Jerusalem. Therefore the Most High says this, see, I myself am taking up your cause to make sure you are avenged. I will dry her river up, make her springs run dry, and turn Babylon into a heap of stones, a lair for jackals, a thing of horror and of scorn. With no one living in it, like lions, they roar together. They growl like lions' whelps. Are they feverish? I will prepare them a drink and make them drink until they grow drowsy. Mm-hmm. And fall into everlasting sleep. And you see this word drowsy? It just said joyful. I will make them drink until they grow joyful, just always wanting to have a good time. All right? Right here. Never to wake up. It is the Most High who speaks. I will take them down to the slaughterhouse like lambs, like rams and he goats. What? Is she captured and conquered the admiration of the world? Now, I want you to check this out, which really kind of startled me. On the right, it says, what? Is she captured and conquered? On the left, how is Shishak taken? They gotta stop playing with our scriptures like this. They gotta. And yes, the Hebrew Shishak, right? They gotta stop this. Now, same thing. Is Shishak taken? And how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babylon becoming an astonishment among the nations? I like this one on the right better because it says, captured and conquered. The admiration of the world. Is not America the admiration? What? Babylon become a thing of horror? Throughout the nations, the sea has risen over Babylon. She sinks under its boisterous waves. Her towns have been turned into desert, a parched land, a wilderness. No one lives in them. No man goes that way. I will punish Bel. I will punish Bel and take from his mouth what he has swallowed. And the future nations will stream to him no more. The wall of Babylon has fallen. Go out of her, my people. Save your lives, each one of you, from the fierce anger of the Most High. Once again, another reminder. But do not be faint hearted. Do not take fright at rumors hawked round the country, showing you that Babylon is not a city. It will start with a city, but it's an entire country. Do not take fright at rumors hawked by the country. Hawked by the country. And this says land. One rumor spreads one year. Next year, another follows. Violence rules on earth, and one tyrant cancels out another. See, the days are coming when I am going to punish the idols of Babylon. Her whole country shall be put to shame, with all her slaughter lying in her midst. Then heaven and earth and all within them shall shout for joy over Babylon, because the destroyers from the north are coming against her. It is the Most High who speaks. Babylon in her turn must fall because of those who were slaughtered in Israel. Just as through Babylon there fell men slaughtered all over the world, you who have escaped her sword, get away, do not wait there. Remember, the Most High is in that distant country. Let Jerusalem be in your mind. We were ashamed when we heard the outrage. Our face was covered with confusion because foreigners had entered the holy places of the temple of the Most High. See, the days are coming, it is the Most High who speaks, when I will punish her idols, and the stricken shall groan throughout her country. Were Babylon to scale the heavens and reinforce her tower and citadel, destroyers would still fall on her at my command. It is the Most High who speaks. Listen to the shouting from Babylon, the mighty crash from the country of the Chaldeans. That is the Most High as he lays Babylon waste. Silence her monstrous din. Well may her waves roar like mighty waters, and their tumultuous voice resound. For a destroyer is sweeping down on Babylon. Her warriors are taken captive. Their bows are broken. Yes, the Most High is a God of retribution. He pays in full. I will make her nobles and her sages drink, her governors and her officials, her warriors. They shall fall into an everlasting sleep and not wake up. It is the King who speaks, whose name is the Most High. Now, keep this in mind. You see everything that's happening with the government. And what did Whoopi Goldberg say from The View? Where is the government? They're sleeping. They're not doing anything. So many laws and rules are being broken. It's that time. It's that sleep. The Most High says this: the wide ramparts of Babylon will be razed to the ground, and her high gates will be burnt down. Thus the laboring people, thus the laboring of the peoples comes to nothing. Toiling of the nations ends in fire. This is the order that prophet Jeremiah gave Sariah, son of Mahaseiah, when the latter left for Babylon at the command of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 4th year of his reign. Now Jeremiah had written down the entire disaster that was to befall Babylon in a special book. All these were recorded here as regards Babylon. Jeremiah then said to Sariah, when you reach Babylon, make a point of reading out every one of these words. Then say, the Most High, you yourself have proclaimed that this place will be destroyed, and no one will live here ever again. Neither man nor beast, but that it will remain desolate forever. When you have finished reading this book, tie a stone to it and throw it into the middle of the Euphrates with these words: so shall Babylon sink, never to rise again from the disaster which I am going to overwhelm her. Here ends the words of Jeremiah. Full stop. Now, there's a lot going on. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, there is a lot going on. And you know what? All the writing, is on the wall. At some point, you're going to say, wow. And at some point, the holy angels are going to say, Most High, how much more evidence do they need to be free?
反观美国，好战成瘾，建国240多年，只有16年没有打仗，在全球80多个国家和地区建有800多个海外军事基地，从阿富汗到伊拉克，从叙利亚到利比亚。美国的战争机器 碾过哪里，哪里的民众就陷入水深火热。美方把贫铀弹和极速炸弹送到乌克兰，把航母战斗群派到地中海，把武器弹药送到以色列。事实证明，美国才是国际秩序的根本性乱源，世界动荡的幕后操盘手，地区和平稳定的最大破坏者。
Now, oh my word. Now, I know it went fast, so I'm going to read it to you.
反观美国，
In contrast, the United States is addicted to war.
好战成瘾，建国240多
In its more than 240 years of history,
年，只有16年没有打仗。
it's only been at peace for 16 years. Woo-wee. Come on now.
在全球80多个国家和地区，
It has more than 80 overseas military bases
建有800多个海外军事基
in more than 80 countries and regions around the world.
地，从阿富汗到伊拉克，从叙利
From Afghanistan to Iraq, from Syria to Libya.
亚到利比亚，美国的战争
Wherever the American war machine rolls, the people are plunged into misery. The U.S. sends oil and rapid fire bombs to Ukraine, deploys carrier battle groups to the Mediterranean, and sends weapons and ammunition to Israel. Facts prove that the United States is the fundamental source of chaos in the international order. The mastermind behind global turmoil and the biggest destroyer of regional peace and stability. Well. Babylon, yeah? No. Maybe no. But one thing is for certain. Look at Mr. Netanyahu, right? And I want you to check this out. Now, 10 years from now would be 2036, 2035, right? Remember, Social Security will be ending. And what else will be ending? Let's see.
I want to taper off the military aid within the next 10 years.
That would be a very dramatic shift.
We kept, as you say, American military support to the tune of $3.8 billion a year. Much appreciated. So now in my visit with President Trump, I said, we very deeply appreciate the military aid that America has given us over the years, but here too we've come of age and we've developed incredible capacities. And in our economy, which will soon reach, certainly within a decade, it'll reach about $1 trillion. It's not a huge economy, but it's not a small economy. So I want to taper off the military aid within the next 10 years. That's not saying that I don't want to fight for the allegiance and support of the American people. I do. You have to be crazy not to. And it's something deep. It's not.
You want to taper it off to zero within 10 years?
Yes.
That would be a very dramatic shift.
Well, now, I want you to understand. He says America's military, the budget will not be needed. AKA, the United States will no longer be needed in 10 years or so. Meaning 10 years or sooner. I want you to, and like I said, the angels are saying to the Most High, how much more does your creation need?
I want to taper off the military aid within the next 10 years.
That would be a very dramatic shift.
We kept, as you say, American military support to the tune of $3.8 billion a year. Much appreciated. So now in my visit with President Trump, I said, We very deeply appreciate the military aid that America has given us over the years, but here too we've come of age and we've developed incredible capacities. And in our economy, which will soon reach, certainly within a decade, it'll reach about $1 trillion. It's not a huge economy, but it's not a small economy. So I want to taper off the military aid within the next 10 years. That's not saying that I don't want to fight for the allegiance and support of the American people. I do. You have to be crazy not to. And it's something deep. It's not.
You want to taper it off to zero within 10 years?
Yes.
That would be a very dramatic shift.
Well, it's in the works.
It's in the works because America will no longer be needed. I mean, existing. I mean, needed. How much more do people need to see and or hear? Well, brothers and sisters, the choice is yours, especially those in the Western Hemisphere. But understand, the winnows, dividing those who are in the falsehood from those who are in the truth. The wheat, the chaff, the wheat from the tares. And I got even greater things coming for part 4. Woo wee! I can't wait. That being said, stay safe and follow the Most High, because these things are no longer a mystery. They're being exposed in real time. It's up to you to escape. It's up to you to follow the order of the Most High. It's up to you to follow His will for you. Love you all. Salam.